Yeah! Get up!
Welcome to the Obstacle Racing Media Podcast with Matt B. Davis.
With over 300 episodes since 2012, Matt has produced the most consistent podcast in OCR.
Each episode, Matt speaks with race directors, athletes, and industry insiders to bring you the most in-depth interviews and conversations in the world of obstacle racing,
adventure runs, and ultra marathons. If you have small children nearby, now is the time to put on some headphones
or send them off to watch Phineas and Ferb, as there are occasionally four-letter words,
which are not bleeps. Now, here is your host.
Now here is your goddamn host.
Now here's your host, fucking Matt B. Davis.
Good day, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Obstacle Racing Media Podcast. I am your host, Matt B. Davis. It's Monday, December 3rd. We are fast approaching the end of yet another year. Another year? Many of you done racing for the year. Many of you going to Iceland. I know Bubbles is. I know Kevin Bubbles Gregory, who's a big fan of the show. I know he's going to Iceland. He wrote an entire article about Iceland prep that's going to be up very shortly if it's not up by the time you hear this. But before I go any further, I want to mention a couple quick things. Number one, I'm super grateful for all of you. Especially duper grateful for the Patreon members. We'll get to those in a minute. But real quick, I started another Instagram channel because I just can't stop creating Instagram pages. Morning.gratitude. That's right. Morning.gratitude on Instagram. You write down 10 things you're grateful for. You tag us. You get on with your day. It's a great, great way to start your day. If you start your day shittily or in a negative place, or your head is screaming at you out of the crap you got to do, take 30 seconds, take 2 minutes, jot down what you're grateful for. 10 things. A bunch of us are doing it. It's awesome. Morning.gratitude on Instagram. Now let's get to those Patreon members. Thank you so much and congratulations. There are a lot of you. Okay. When I started out, there was like 9 people. Now we have 34. We have 34 patrons. Each and every one of you, I appreciate. I just can't think of any other way to say it. You're helping me make my dreams come true. You're helping support my family. We're building this cool community, this super cool community. Like we're all part of the big OCR community, but I feel like we got kind of a little cool thing going on, and it's pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and thank everybody. This time we're going to do it in order of how long you've been a patron. Sometimes we do it alphabetically, sometimes reverse alphabetically, sometimes by dollar amount. Today we're going length of patroness. Number 1, Christopher Stevens. Number 2, Sean Rumbo like Rambo. Will Hicks, Jeff Schoaf, Eric Wilkin, Matthew Punton, Brad Howagon. OCR Talk, that's Jason Dupree. Ryan Maisano, Dan MacArthur, Sophia Harnedy, Mike O'Farrell, Samantha Thompson, Joseph Carollo, Tony Mayer, Brian Reynolds, Scott Forrester, Randy Seeley, Kim DeVos, Scott Carter, Christopher McLeod, Jason Zaleski, Ken Maliz, Rachel Miranda, Stuart Clark, Scott Sebastian, Benton Wolverton, the best name in OCR, Eric Marin, Kyle, let's see if I get it right, Zhigaliskwi, Kyle, damn it, Kyle, you messaged me and I wanted to get it right. Just correct me, buddy. Message me and correct me. I thought I had it. Zhigaliskwi. Zhingaleski? Is it Kyle Zhingaleski? John Tackett. And our newest, Dave Claxton. Thank you so much, Dave. Welcome to the team. Now listen, there's 2 people at the end. They're not guaranteed a monthly shout out, but you know what? We're going to give it to them. Nate Ort and M. Stefano, thank you so much for your donation as well. Be a part of it. If you didn't hear your name, come be a part of this. Donate as little as $1 a month and get access to this amazing community. I give away really cool stuff. Speaking of which, the December giveaway is coming. Stay tuned for that video. Thank you so much, patrons. Love it, love it, love it. Let's keep the train rolling. I also want to get to some iTunes reviews. Let's read those. I got a fresh one from Canada, 10 stars. I'm sorry, did you hear that correctly? 10 stars by superkev.ocr. Been listening for too long not to leave a review. I was hoping to catch you in Hotlanta during WTM, but somehow never saw you. I know you're not supposed to call it Hotlanta, but after having my WTM cherry popped last weekend, I will always call it that. You give me 10 stars, you can call it whatever you want. You've kept me company during many long runs, and I've learned a lot. Even a few things about OCR. Get it? Like, he's learned a lot, even a few things about OCR, even though I'm an OCR podcast. I love how scattered you are. Don't change a thing. What OCR tidbits I did pick up helped me run through the night and get to 60 miles. I'm so proud of that. Hardest damn thing I ever did. P.S. More bubbles, more kids, and more Jesse. Keep up the good work. Wow. Superkev.ocr. Thank you so much. I'm really glad you've enjoyed this. And take that. I'm just kidding. I love Seb too. Listen, I love it. Listen, some people love vanilla. Some people hate chocolate. Some people like Neapolitan. Some people love Chipotle. Some people only enjoy Chinese food. It's okay. It's a big, wide world of Matt B. Davis on the podcast. You can take or leave whatever you like. But dude, that review is the bomb. The next one comes to us from the U.S. on November 26th. Great obstacle racing coverage, and they spelled great, GR8. I look forward to listening to these podcasts on my training runs. See you at the next race. Thank you, Innate Dennis. Okay, whatever. If I'm saying it right, let me know. Okay, I've got 2 from the UK, and I honestly can't remember if I read them. One is outstanding, 5 stars by Fun, Addictive, and Fun. Love this podcast for anything OCR. Like listening to Matt and his content he does. Just listening to the 2 Ryans podcast, and this by far my best episode yet. Keep up the great word, Mac. All the way from the UK, Gareth. And then another by Stu the First, and I'm almost positive I read this already, so I'm not going to read it again because it's long. Stu, if I haven't read this already, just message me because we message all the time, and I promise to read it. If you want to drop a note on the iTunes, please do so. Let me know that you did, and I'll be happy to read yours on the air. Before I get to today's show, I do want to put out another word. We've had some great feedback on the people who wanted to help with stats. Still looking for people who are good with social media and or Photoshop. So drop me a note on the Facebook, on Instagram. Let me know if you want to help. I will happily put you to work and happily give you free races in exchange for your services. If you reached out recently for help with that stuff and I didn't get back to you, just drop me another note. I think I got back to everybody, but I can't remember. I don't want you to think that I forgot about you because I didn't. On today's program, Jon Albon. Now I was looking through it. It looks like we've actually talked to Jon a lot lately, and for good reason. He's been in this hunt for the million for a while now. So obviously ever since he won Tahoe. So here's these 2 conversations you're going to hear. One right after he got back from Greece and winning the Spartan Trifecta Championship. And then this weekend he went to Malaysia and competed in the Ultra. What was it called? He just needed to complete an UltraBeast, I guess. He didn't need to do a championship. He just needed to do an UltraBeast. He had many options leading up to this. There were other dates that were troublesome. This one worked out. So I think this is some good insight. Now, when you go back to the one right after Greece, this was before World's Toughest. So we addressed some of the stuff that we later answered. So that's interesting about other things that don't refer to Jon because Jon didn't go. But we get into the mind as much as we can with Jon. Now, Jon plays it pretty close to the vest, as we joke about in this on both episodes, I think. And he just kind of has that stereotypical English, very much keeps to himself. So he gives me answers and then shuts up and then makes me dig a little bit more. And that's fine. Not everybody's completely gregarious, right? So you got Hunter on one end, I guess. You got Jon Albon on the other. And the rest of us somewhere in between. I hope that doesn't... I'm not trying to disparage you, Jon. And I know you're not even listening. But if you know Jon, know that I'm not disparaging him. But we get to go into the mind of Jon Albon after Greece, before Malaysia, and now after Malaysia, before Iceland. So let's get to it. Away we go. Let's get straight to brass tacks.
What does that mean?
Shall we?
Yeah.
It means cut to the chase, cut to the quick, as it were. What do you guys say over there?
I don't know.
I'm so glad we're not live, because this is like, you go out of your way to make it as boring as possible.
I said it shouldn't be live. I'm just a boring person. I like to run in the mountains. Talking to people is like a chore.
I can tell. So, Sparta, Greece. This is Sparta.
Yeah.
How much
is Sparta?
What percent were you holding back on Saturday?
I don't know. It's really hard to tell with an obstacle race because you kind of, it's like you pick something up and your heart rate goes up and you put it down again and you speed up again and stuff. It's like really hard to really think like how much you were holding back percentage wise, but I definitely wasn't pushing, that's for sure. I could have probably pushed quite a bit harder on the super, like a bit harder on the sprint, but really it's just about trying to save as much energy as possible.
So how confident were you on Sunday?
I was pretty confident, except for the fact there was the memory test and 2 spear throws, which obviously can always go wrong in Spartan, and also 3 balance beams, 1 being a slack line. So all those things coupled together, it's pretty easy that you could just make a stupid mistake.
Right, and with only a 29-second lead, that's like one, like another burpee thing, and there goes your lead, right?
Yeah, but then I knew that the other guys would probably be a bit more tired than me from the day before, and I'm probably a better long-distance athlete than them. So I was working on like the game plan of maybe I could build up enough buffer so I could do 60 burpees and still win, which I managed to do in the end. So it's good.
Did you do 60 burpees?
No. I didn't do any. The balance beams all went fine. The spear throw with the shield wasn't quite as heavy as I was expecting, and that went fine. The memory test, we had a big chain and we were carrying it, and then halfway through the carry was the memory test board where we had to learn our stuff. And I made up a good little story and made sure to look at the number 1, not the number 0, and remember that one. So I remembered the right memory test. And the second spear throw was taken out because the burpees were being done in water, which is a bit weird from the day before. So that was removed.
So wait a minute. So it wasn't what they used to do, because I haven't seen a burpee test in a while. I haven't done a beast in a while either. But it used to be you'd see it somewhere, and then somewhere later in the race, you had no idea when, they would ask you to recite it. You're saying it was in the middle of an obstacle?
Yeah, so the board that we had to, with the stuff we had to remember, was in the middle of a heavy chain carry. So I think it was maybe like a K long, this chain carry. Picked up a big chain, walked for like 500 meters. Then there's a big board with a different row of shields on, and then 10 of them, I guess. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we had to look at the last digit of our race number and then remember that combination of shields. And then later on in the race, we got to a group of like 10 volunteers, and they were all having a sheet of paper with like 10 different combinations on. So we had to go to the right woman functioneer and then pick out of that 10 the right combination that we'd remembered.
And which was yours? Do you remember it still?
Yeah, I can describe it. It's the pictures of these shields, like the one from the film Sparta's got that arrow on that points upwards, right? So that's just from Sparta. That is their shield to the people from Sparta, and then the different towns maybe or whatever have a different drawing on each shield. So mine was some guy that was like smiling, looking a bit crazy, and then it was sort of like a shield with like some swirly stuff coming around it.
So that's what you're describing to the woman? You're like saying this?
No. She's got them all printed out on a piece of paper, and you have to point to your one.
Oh, got it. So
there were like 10 different combinations of your combination of shields.
Right.
Do you want to hear mine, or is it not really that?
Well, I thought it was going to be like, whatever, Lima shield, rectangle, stop sign, but you're making it sound not very sexy.
It's like some guy with a big smile. So I was like, oh, that's a man. And then it was like a shield with like some swirly pattern. So I just thought that's a shield. So a man's got a shield. And then it was the Spartan shield with the arrow on. So I thought, well, the man's holding the shield up. And then there was like some sort of cow face. So I thought, because the cow jumped over the moon.
Right. This is great.
And then there was double snake, single snake, and then a wreath at the end, and they put a wreath on our heads when we finished. Right. So I had big man with shield, holds it up, so cow jumped over the moon, double snake, single snake, wreath.
That's a lot to say in your head.
Well, yeah, but once you've got the little story at the beginning, the double snake, single snake, wreath kind of just remember that anyway.
So. That just rolls right. It's it's like a phone.
I think I used the most time at the memory test board looking. I think I probably lost a minute on everyone else just there around.
Because you were just going to make sure you had that story.
Yeah, well, I'd already screwed up the memory test once, hadn't I? So I didn't really want to do that again. What I did in the super was I knew I had number 1, and there was a big board of these shields, and I just looked in the top left and remembered that one. Because number 1 is normally in the top left, right? But apparently the digit 0 was in the top left, because if you've got number 10, then you've got to remember 0. That's your memory test thing. So I actually remembered the incorrect memory test. So when I got down there, I looked at all the combinations and was like, nope, none of those.
So that was the day. That was the day before.
Yeah, that was in the super. So then I burpeed out there. So that's when I lost the lead in the super.
So I'm going to take a wild guess and say that you did not listen to my conversation with Joe that I just put up yesterday.
No.
I thought so. I think he explained pretty good kind of the situation. I think you probably had the same conversation with him though, about, this joke about, well, everybody in the world qualified, quote unquote, for the Iceland except for you, the guy who's the most qualified. So if you want to have a minute to listen to it, you can. You probably won't. I think I know you fairly well. But he did say that they'll fly you to any one of these UltraBeasts. So they'll take that part out of it, which I think is fair, right? So what do you want to do?
I don't know. I got to think about it, I guess. I mean, people have come up with some great examples, like some top tennis player having to qualify for Wimbledon. That doesn't normally really happen, does it?
Well, there must be Americans. Americans don't quite understand English things, or tennis isn't really one of our things either.
I'm sure there's people that are just really good at running, and they were slightly injured, so they didn't qualify for the Olympics. But because they're just like so good, they just get allowed to race anyway. Like, I'm sure stuff like that happens even as high as the Olympics. No? Or am I just making that up?
I think for our country, you have to show up to the Olympic qualifiers. That's what they're called, and compete. And so famously in the 80s, there was this Reebok ad, ironic Reebok. Yeah. These two guys, Dan and Dave, were going to go compete head to head in the decathlon. And the one guy didn't make it. And it was like this, it became this famous, like, whatever you call it, ad fail, because it was like Dan and Dave. And then the one guy didn't even make the Olympics that year. But it's very, there is no equivalent, because nothing like this is going on anywhere in the world. Spartan makes up rules, changes rules all the time. We've talked about this, the silly things that happen that we've never encountered, and then, now we've got to encounter it. Now we've got to change that rule. The long and short of it is, Joe said, yes, anyone can go to Iceland, but not, if we're going to give away this much money, I'm not going to make it easier by saying you don't have to do these things. So sort of made sense to me. And that it wasn't as clear as it should have been on the front end. But when you say you don't know, I mean, you've got to make a decision here. You've got basically one weekend to do it, because one of the weekends you're already busy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't really thought about it. I just got home last night. It's like, I don't know, I've got to look into, firstly, where this whole qualification thing.
I don't even believe you. I don't believe you.
If there is any one person that's in Iceland that hasn't qualified, then I think it's complete bollocks. Like, if there's anyone that's racing there that hasn't done the qualification stuff, and they make me travel all the way with like a 24-hour flight to Australia, for example, get there, walk around the beast, an UltraBeast, and then take a flight back again with all that sort of traveling and sleep deprivation, all this sort of crap that I'm going to have to go through, having already done a massive race season. I think that's just like kind of stupid.
But they're not going for the money, he's saying, is what Joe is saying. Yes, they may have qualified to run.
Well, they're in the competition. But it's just a competition, isn't it? This is like, Spartan are famous for this. What they do is they try and change things to make it a better for spectating and stuff. They like try and change things to make rivalries between athletes, and they try and create them. They don't just let the sport run its course and they just film it. They've got to try and make stuff up to try and make it better, not just it's like when we did that Battle Frog team thing. Our team was getting to race other teams which we weren't meant to race, and they were just doing it to try and make it like, I know, better viewing on TV and stuff. So they should just say, this is a sport, you go and race, and if you win, you get this stuff.
Well, I mean, you're comparing different things, though. I agree. Like, what you're talking about is, fake drama that television does. And, I mean, do we really need to talk about the business acumen or ideas of one Battle Frog race? And, Mike McAllister, Mike McAllister, the lawyer who was the genius behind the whatever Battle Frog thing is. Come on, dude. That's like,
It was just the best. That was the best obstacle racing example.
Are you upset, by the way, that you lost that? Because you should have won. How did you lose
won
that?
What?
That Battle Frog thing.
No, we won.
You did win. Okay, I was going to say.
But we just tried. They tried to screw us over in the last races because I don't think they wanted us to win, or they don't.
Right, they wanted an American team or whatever. Right.
Yeah,
no, I remember that.
So, but we just stuck to our guns and said, now we'll just disqualify ourselves instead of racing. And then they let us race the people we were meant to race, and they, funnily enough, turned out that we won. Right. So that was a lot of fun.
Right. Okay.
But that's how I wish it would be. It's like if there's anyone in Iceland which hasn't qualified, why can't I go unqualified? Why is the most qualified?
Because you're going to race for $1 million, and here's the implications of the $1 million. You've got to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, but they're going to race for $100,000. What's the difference?
Who is?
Whoever would be there, for example, that isn't qualified. If there's one person there that's not qualified
to run for the 100,000.
Yeah. Can Spartan say that every single person that goes to Iceland has qualified? There's no guest appearances of any nature
that are gonna possibly win 100,000. No,
it doesn't matter whether they're competitors in a competition. They have the ability to. It's not just like you need to label the people that could win and say, well, they get special treatment. It's just a race. You turn up, you race, and then someone wins. You don't try and change anything before that or decide who's going to win before they've even gone.
Well, don't go to Australia. Go to Mexico or Carolina. It's less than a day flight. That's all. I guess that's all I can say. I'm
going to look into it. I mean, I need to sit down, look into the whole qualification thing, make some decisions on how my body is.
Why did you bother to go to? Why would you bother to go to Greece if you weren't going to do it? I mean,
because just how I live my life. I'm on a wave and I just follow it and see how far it goes and just take each decision as it comes. And I figured my body was still in working order. Greece was €5,000 prize money. I could see myself doing well there, so I was probably still going to at least come out with some money. The course was run by Thomas Blanc, and I thought that was going to be really fun. Go to Greece at the start, a lot of history and stuff. Nice place to go to, warm weather. I thought it'd be a good weekend. So if I was going to go to Iceland, I'm thinking about stuff like the Northern Lights and the hot pools and stuff, and try and think of other stuff apart from just running for 24 hours for $1 million.
Right. You don't even like to run for 24 hours, as I recall.
Yeah. I mean, it would be fun running for 24 hours in the UTMB where I have to go somewhere and up a mountain and getting somewhere. Whereas continual laps of the same thing just seems pointless.
No, I remember.
Since you don't end anywhere.
I remember you telling me that when you and Ryan ran together, that Ryan was really enjoying it in the middle of the night, and you were like, "This is horrible. Why are we doing this?"
Yeah, I think I enjoyed it afterwards because it was cool to see that I could put my body through that. But at the end of the day, obstacle racing is such an abstract thing. It's different every single time. So I know it's just it's a weird thing. You can feel accomplished by doing it, but you haven't actually ended up anywhere. And it's really hard to put your finger on what you've actually managed to accomplish because it's always going to be different.
Yeah, well, that's where we're at, man. I mean,
yeah, no, that's why it's fun. So, but I also need to decide whether I actually think 100 miles is possible. I haven't looked into the finer points of the rules about how the race is even run. Like with World Toughest Mudder, you've got an extra hour and a half bolted on the back end to finish your last lap, right?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me either. Joe, I actually emailed Joe about that when Atkins pointed that out to me, that it's actually, you're giving people less than 24 hours. So
we've got to do something like 90 miles in 21 hours or something, is it?
Right. It doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah, so at that lap rate, we're going to finish an hour early or something stupid. So there's a lot of these finer points you've got to look into, and also whether the course is even set. I mean, it's so easy to add 3 flags onto every single carry. It's so easy to say 2 sandbags instead of 1. Really, when the whole $1 million thing was announced, they should have said, these are the maps of the courses. This is what's going to happen.
Right,
this is the set rules.
But that's now you're in fantasy land. That's what a professional. We would hope one day we would get to, right? But it's still, listen, people use the phrase the wild, wild west and how it might one day be organized. I think it's going to be long after you and I. Maybe it will, but it's not going to be in 5 or even 10 years. It'll probably be more like 20 or 30. So let's see. I'll be 76, so I'll still be doing this. I can still talk to people. You'll be old. You'll be living somewhere where there's no internet, I'm sure. With your little family, right? I'm right. So that's probably when those you'll see the kind of rules that you're talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's kind of hard to try and follow some rules in order to be able to qualify to even go on race. But then there's other rules which just don't even exist, haven't even been thought about. So, I mean, one thing that I was holding to was the knowledge that if it was insured and it was completely out of Joe's hands, if I won, it wasn't going to cost him $1 million. It was going to cost the insurance company $1 million. Then I figured, oh, well, that means that it might be actually a fair go at it, that the course might be fair. I might actually have a chance of winning this. Whereas now I think he's saying it's actually not insured, so it'll be coming out of his own pocket. So now I'm thinking, well, that means it's just kind of like me versus like a massive wall, to be honest. It's going to be pretty difficult if it's actually going to end up coming out of Joe's pocket and he's the one that can influence what the course is going to be like.
Yeah, but I don't think he does, though. I mean, I do think that the course guys do what they do. Like Mike Morris and those guys will design a course. They're not going to say...
So you're saying that Joe's never altered a course the night before a race?
Altered a course? Yeah, maybe in like 2013. I don't think now. I think...
How about the extra double sandbag at Spartan Worlds?
Is that what happened this year? He said add that?
Well, either the TV guys did or he did, but the story goes that 24 hours before the race was going to begin, there was only one double sandbag entirely this year. And then that night, there was... turned out to be 2 double sandbags, one just before the last climb.
And you think that was Joe?
Well, on the start line, he's told me it was him, but normally he's joking when he says stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen.
Exactly. So you don't know, do you? So things always change and stuff, and it wouldn't even have to be that obvious. It would just have to be an extra couple of flags on each carry, and that would like make a massive difference in my mind. But ultimately, it's going to be the weather, which is the biggest factor.
I mean, look at it this way.
At least you can't control that.
Right. Well, look at it this way. You get to go if you go to Iceland, right? It is kind of cool, right? You'll hang out with your buddy Atkins, probably. You guys probably run together for a bit, right?
Yep.
And you have an experience of a lifetime. I know you've run a lot of places, but it's kind of a cool thing. And
I have run a lot of places. It's also been a really long season. Like, I'm not sure I know anyone that's raced as much as I have.
Oh, what about Robert? What about Robert Killian?
Sorry?
What about Robert Killian? He says the same thing.
What? How many races has he done then?
He says nobody's done as many races as him.
What? So at the beginning of the year, I did the Trail Running World Championship. Oh, actually, as a warm up for that, I did the Bergen Marathon. Then I did the Trail Running World Championships, which was 90K. I've done 3 sky races. Actually, I didn't do that much racing in the spring, but I've done a lot in the autumn. In the last 3 weekends, I've done the 3K, the 15K, 96 kilometers of running last weekend, and then 3 Spartan races this weekend. I had a week off in between, but 3 weeks before that, I did the Sky Running Ultra World Championships, the Tough Mudder World Championships, and Tahoe.
And some people...
in the last 3 months, I've done a bunch.
Some people get up every day and go to a really sucky job.
Exactly. But, it's like me abusing my body, so I need to work out whether the small injuries I've got and stuff, I could just be fucking myself up so much that I won't even be able to run in 5 years' time. So I need to actually think about like whether I'm doing myself more damage than good trying to go for these things.
How old are you now? I know I asked you this last time, I think.
29.
Big 3-0 round the corner.
That will be coming up, yeah. It's a lot to ask for an athlete to do all this racing as it is, but then to go and do a pointless ultra just before a 24-hour race seems a bit much to me. Like, I like spending time at home with my wife and being here and being able to train for Iceland. To have to jump on a plane literally to go on, like, I know for a lot of people to do the UltraBeast in 10 hours is a big ask, but I'm pretty sure I can do it. So I do see it as kind of being a bit pointless.
I guess. If you want to do an easy one, come here. Carolina's rather flat, so just letting you...
That's not this weekend, but next, right?
Right.
I'm, what am I doing? I'm in the UK to talk at the Kendall Mountain Festival. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Will you be watching any World's Toughest coverage this weekend?
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Who have we got that's racing in the individual?
That could win?
Well, yeah.
Trevor.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of up for grabs. Trevor, Mendoza, I guess. Those two guys will probably battle it out.
Yeah.
Chad's not doing it. Woodsy's on Atkins' team. I should probably know these things off the top of my head, but I don't.
Yeah. But it doesn't look like it's going to be sort of like that big year when all the best big hitters are really there to race out. There might be a couple of guys, but I think it'll be fun to check in and stuff. But.
No, for sure, though. With Ryan not there, that gets a lot of guys very excited, right? They think, okay, that's at least one spot open, right? And then I think the women's competition is going to be great. It was last year. It'll be good again this year.
Yeah, who's the women's then?
The same ones that it was last year, pretty much, which are all good.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll probably follow a bit, but I'm actually going to really enjoy my first weekend at home for quite a while. So maybe I'll just tune out. I think Henrietta, my wife's parents, are coming over as well, so that's going to be nice.
I mean, you can just peek in from time to time.
Yeah, I will. I'm really interested actually to see how the team stuff goes for Ryan and Lindsay.
Right.
Because I think Ryan wants to swap every lap, which is like a really aggressive, let's race and knock the crap out of this tactic. And Lindsay's a bit more like, can we just do 3 laps on, 3 laps off, so I can at least take my wetsuit off for a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Woodsy was saying that that 2 on, 2 off is kind of the way to go. That's how that's how their guys did it last year, and he's thinking that's the way to go this year. But he says we'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun to follow in on how everything pans out, and to see what the course is like, and see how different it was to last year, whether they've built their own cliff or whether they've just got some sort of other obstacles.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Pretty cool.
I'm very excited to see that as well.
Yeah, so good times.
All right. Well, I'm sure I'll find out at some point that you're racing. If you want to let me know, it'd be great. Let your friend Matt know. It'd be great if you make a decision either way.
Yeah, no, I'm going to think about it. We'll see. I'll probably ring Ryan and see what he says as well. Because Ryan's going to be like, the 100's going to be easy. It's like easy money, John. Why don't you just go and do it? And I'm a bit like, yeah, I haven't got quite the same pedigree of 100-mile, 24-hour obstacle racing as Ryan had. But I'm sure I could give it a good crack. Might be fun.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to me on short notice, dude.
No worries. It's been fun.
All right. Be well.
Cheers. Bye.
Another awesome sponsor is back, and that's Wetsuit Wearhouse. Ladies and gentlemen, cold water sucks. Wetsuit Wearhouse is the leading retailer of wetsuits and neoprene accessories for obstacle racing. You can shop over 25,000 wetsuits, boots, gloves, and hoods to keep you on course. Expert services available by phone, email, or live chat on weekdays. We got a new discount code, customers, for 2018. It's ORM15 off. That's the new code, ORM15 off. Visit wetsuitwearhouse.com for all your wetsuit needs. Guess what? It's not just WTM. You got 6 toughest events this year. You got all kinds of UltraBeast this year. Maybe you're going to go to Iceland again. You're going to need Wetsuit Wearhouse. Check out the all-new Hyperflex Viral in their long line of affordable and stretchy wetsuits. Remember, folks, ORM15 off for wetsuitwearhouse.com. That's wetsuitwearhouse.com. You didn't think I was going to skip that, did you? wetsuitwearhouse.com.
How you doing?
Hey, John, it's Ryan. So, you think Iceland is going to be fun?
Hey.
I just
think running for 24 hours is fun, though.
I just try to, I just try to
be better than my wife.
Be better than my wife is really good. I mean,
it's really fucking hard.
She wins all the titles, and I come in second, like a lot.
Oh, poor Ryan.
No one is saying poor Ryan. Okay.
A snapshot.
I didn't mean to.
It just said that.
I know, I didn't mean to, but I guess it's like.
Oh my lord!
It's like.
That's it. I'm going to be all over the internet now.
Good morning.
Morning. It's 2:30.
It's 9:30 here.
Yeah, well, not everything revolves around USA time.
Not everything revolves around Jon Albon.
All 3 of them.
Not everything revolves around Jon Albon and his ability to win obstacle races in foreign lands.
Yeah, because there's not many in Norway.
All right, so we're finally here. It's a few days away. You're the talk for a guy who's relatively low key. You are the talk of the OCR town these days. Although this does give me an opportunity. Speaking of which, to talk to you about this new change that's coming out from OCR World Championships that they're going to announce in an hour and a half. So I can talk to you about it now.
Exciting.
Well,
do you know what it is?
I do know what it is. Do you know what it is?
Is it? No, but I haven't really followed anything. I didn't even know there was a change.
Well, they very.
Can I guess what it is?
Yes.
I don't know, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't know why I said that.
Well, one thing that I criticize them for is they love to do the, oh my God, game changer announcement for pretty much everything, which of course completely devalues the announcement. And it's just, It's just it is. I think it assumes the customer is stupid when you do that. When you do a lot of the vague, like, "Oh boy, you'll never guess what we have coming." I just don't like it. And the other race.
Oh boy, you never guess what? We've added 2 more water stops.
Exactly. And listen, the big races do this too, right? They got their own, like, everybody hates vague booking. So the fact that they keep doing it. So, like, the last time around, people are, like, losing their minds because they really think it's something cool. And then it's like, guess what? Australian 24-hour race. And people are like, oh, well, I'm not going to that, right?
In the middle of the year.
Right. Like, no one's going. Like, who does that affect, right? So it tends to be a big disappointment. And again, I'm not talking behind their backs. I've told them this. I've told Adrian this. So this time around, it's a 100-meter short course.
Yeah. Okay.
Have any reaction?
So does it mean they're gonna reduce the prize money for the other races again? So now, in order to receive the same prize money as the first year, I have to win 3 races.
That I don't know. They have not yet announced that. But
it sounds pretty cool though, because that's like completely out of my like league. So at least this is something that I won't feel as if I have to go and do to try and win.
Yeah, just
whereas
skip
the 3K is a pretty similar fitness to the 15K. So it kind of feels like you should be able to do both. But 100 meters might be pretty fun to watch. It just depends on if they actually think about the design of the course for 100 meters. It's going to be fast and flowy and really fluid rather than like loads of stopping and starting and stuff. So it'd be cool to see how they make the course up.
Yeah, and so apparently you get 2 runs at it. Anytime starting Friday and anytime ending Saturday, and best score wins. And they're going to do top 3 men and women, and then like 1 masters. I think they're not going to break it up into age groups. So it is a decent announcement, but anyway, it's just.
I thought they were going to do something like you have an overall winner if you add together your 3K and your 15K times or something.
Ooh, that could be interesting.
Yeah.
What if I talked like that, John? Ooh.
I've got other things on my mind at the moment, so I guess I'm not really thinking about.
Oh, you're thinking about the stupid Iceland thing. Okay, so we've got to address this one, the one question that several in the community are proposing, which is that Ryan will sort of help you, sort of run alongside you to sort of pace you, as it were. And then if for whatever reason you don't do so hot, he can still win 100K. But if you do well, everybody's happy, and maybe even give him some money.
Is this a question?
This is what people are speculating. I'm curious as to what your thoughts are.
No comment.
Okay.
No, me and Ryan haven't really discussed anything like specifically, but we are just friends. So we're talking about like what gloves each other's going to use. I'm bringing him a jacket to use and stuff. So it could be interesting when we are running together just to see how it plays out. Maybe we'll talk about it before, maybe not. I don't know. I've got no idea. I don't know whether if me and Ryan were to run together the whole time, whether Spartan would turn around and say that's helping each other and disqualify me.
I would ask old what's his name, Matt, before you start. I think as long as you don't help each other over obstacles, there's no crime against running together. Yeah, well, I mean, you do that in running races all the time, don't you? You even draft off people in cycling races and stuff, but you still beat them at the end. But I mean, if Joe likes to say that he's going to give extra prize money to people to beat me, but not give it to me if I win, and that's classed as like being legit, then I don't see why me and Ryan running together wouldn't be legit either. A good point. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how it turns out. It'd be funny to see whether I can actually keep up with Ryan. So, I mean, I think having done the race at the weekend, the biggest thing might really come down to obviously the weather, which everyone's talked about, and the frozen ground that everyone's talked about, but also just the fact that we don't often do these obstacles so back to back. Normally in an ultra, you get to do like the spinny thing and the monkey bars or the traverse wally thing like twice in 50K. Whereas in this, it's going to be 5 times in 50K each. So that means 16 times for the 100 miles. Right. But I did see people successfully completing, let's say they had at the finish line, pretty much, they had a basic rig. Maybe it had a rope in it. But I remember seeing like Allison Ty and other people like still doing it. So yeah, rings are fine though, because you can match and swing and match and swing. That's pretty good. But this spinny monkey bar thing, what's it called? You have done far more Spartans than I have, my friend. Yeah, but I don't read the names, do I? Twister. So
That takes you can either swing through it and it goes a lot quicker, but it's really sketchy, especially if it's slippery and you've got tired grip, you can just slip off really easy. Or you can kind of muscle it and go backwards with bent arms and go along relatively quickly, but it takes a lot of muscle power. Or you can kind of hang and go sideways and sort of skip along, which takes twice the amount of time as doing it the other ways. So the safest way takes ages, and doing that 16 times is actually going to be pretty tiring. And Ryan's grip strength is pretty much far superior to mine. So maybe it would come down to the fact that I'm failing obstacles and Ryan isn't. And it's going to be a bit awkward if Ryan just waits for me while I'm doing burpees. So it might just be that it's sort of not possible to run alongside each other anyway. I've got no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think, I saw on one of the live feeds, Woodsy was actually doing it that sort of long monkey style where you sort of skip things. And I'd never seen anybody do that. He got through it very efficiently that way.
Yeah, so that's what at the weekend I did it the first time the sideways way, which I thought was the safe way. It took me ages. So afterwards I thought, oh, that was tiring. And then the next time I did it the swingy way, which I normally do, and that was a lot less tiring. But I can imagine if the bars are wet or icy and I've been going for a long time, that's a lot easier just to slip off by accident. So it's sort of a lot riskier. So that's one obstacle that I'm thinking maybe it would be a possible fail for me. And then 30 burpees up until 12 o'clock at night. Then after that, it's 15 burpees. Unless it's an obstacle which has got a penalty loop.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot they actually did that reduce the penalties late at night thing. Now, I read your Malaysia review. Gripping as always, Jon Albon, reading your reviews. It says that people were chatting you up quite a bit. Was it a mostly English speaking crowd?
There was actually a lot of French, a lot of expats which live down in Asia and Australia and stuff, which are all there, which is kind of really cool because I've never really raced down in Asia. So to be down there and meet all these people which are really passionate about obstacle racing and Spartan racing, but you never really come across because they live so far away. It was pretty cool. And even the Asian people which were running there, they were having loads of fun and getting into it. And yeah, it was really cool. So it was fun.
Did they know you though, or they just saw you as the guy in the lead?
A lot of people knew me. No one actually saw me in the lead because what happened was you come through after the first lap and you're wearing a purple bib. Then they stick you in a white bib, which immediately gets muddy and just looks like the same as everyone else's T-shirt that's running normally. And then in the second lap, you're overtaking thousands of normal people running. So no one actually realizes who you are. And the whole second lap is kind of you're really just running around alone. No one really sees you. And then you cross the line, everyone's like, oh, someone finished.
Right.
That's pretty much what happened.
Well, I've run in Lebanon and I got to run in China last year. And my experience in those countries was very much 4 years ago for us, or maybe 5. So a lot of new people, you can tell by what they're wearing, right? And only I had the only GoPro or one other guy as opposed to everybody has one. So you can tell it's they're so excited to see a GoPro and waving. And yeah, that genuine excitement is there, and the genuine oh, what do we do next? It's kind of refreshing, right? It's very
it was cool. It was fun.
Yeah,
it was good. It was a different sort of energy,
right?
And they do it in a different way. And obviously, it's kind of funny that I don't think a lot of them like mud. So there was one water station where there's a massive tanker of water, and there were so many people just trying to wash their hands and their arms of mud. Halfway through the beast, and you're going to get muddy again. You're just wasting water. But it was really funny to see, and that was really, really cool because for a lot of them, I guess it might be their first race. So it was cool. There's a lot of people wearing the wrong shoes as well. It was really muddy and slippery. So I was trying to go past a lot of people on really slick, jungly paths, and they're just slipping backwards, and I just walk up fine. So. Yeah, there's certainly a lot to learn, but it's pretty cool that Spartan Races got down there and taken off and is obviously successful. So,
yeah, say what you want about Spartan, but that's sort of what has made me think of being at Tahoe and seeing okay, we've planted all these flags all over the world and it's starting to work, right?
Yeah.
People showed up
down there. They actually just see Spartan racing as obstacle racing. They don't know that there's any. Don't know there's any other types of obstacle races even. It's kind of Spartan is there and that's all that's there. So
right, but we're gonna have
that's kind of cool.
But we're gonna have the equivalent of what happens in the other countries. A guy who owns a farm, a guy who owns a racetrack. Oh, I can do this, and and they'll start to pop up more, and maybe there'll be some real players too. But I'm saying that what I talked to Joe about recently or in Tahoe, where I think the mistake, if we're looking at the long picture now, versus Mutter, for example, Mutter was very like, we're going to control this. We're not going to do this in very many countries because we can't be in many. And Joe was like, screw it. Let's give everybody a license that wants one. And yes, the quality may suck early on, but they'll catch up. And he appears to be right. And Mutter is like in 2 countries, and Spartan is in 100 or 300 or whatever the hell Joe's got going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they've done good. I mean, it's nice. It's like kind of like what the sort of caffeine that the sport needs, maybe just to get it out there, and then let it grow on its own in other countries.
Does anything excite you, Jon Albon? You always do this to me. You just like go out of your way to.
I'm just not. I'm generally a happy person. It's just apparently I don't look very happy. I just don't like give off that happy aura.
Will winning $1 million make you happy?
I'm pretty sure that I'll be happy on the finish line for $1 million, but I'll also probably pay like $10,000 for a shower and a hot tub and just to sit down and a good meal. So right. I'm not sure. I think I'll be stoked, but I'll be tired as well.
You'll live in the same country you live in now, right? Maybe will you buy a bigger house or no?
I think we're happy with the flat we've got. I mean, it's like pretty close to the centre and it's kind of pretty far out as well. So we've got the best of both worlds. I might look into buying a cabin in the mountains so I can go and ski in the winter a lot easier. That'd be really cool. So really just use the money just to allow me to live the same lifestyle I have now, just a little bit nicer.
Will you fly first class when you go to races?
No. Spartan booked me business class to Malaysia because they knew how it was going to be detrimental to me racing, or I said that I had to fly business class. And I found out that it's pretty much the same, except for people suck up to you and you get to lie flat in the plane. And lying flat in the plane actually takes a lot of getting used to because you're just lying there thinking, this isn't right. I'm on a plane. Yeah. Why am I laying down? But no, it was good. It was a 13-hour flight from Singapore to Copenhagen, and I slept for 10 of them. So nice. I'm feeling a lot more rested now than if I was to fly usual class.
Now, do you take any sleep aids by chance, or you just knock out?
We had the whole pill conversation, didn't we?
We did have the whole pill conversation. I'm sorry, I forgot so quickly. The only thing you take it appears as an iron pill, right?
Yeah, only if I'm going to go on race at elevation, like at Tahoe. But apart from that, nada. Au naturel.
Now, you said you and Ryan haven't discussed much, but I assume you're if Lindsay's there, she'll help you crew, yes?
Yeah, I guess so. I think Lindsay likes me.
But you've not talked about that at all? You'll just sort of wing it and say, by the way, if I come in...
No, my sister's going there.
Oh,
I think she's got full control, so that's nice.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
She ran World Toughest Mudder last year and did 75 miles, and she's pitted for me at World Toughest. She's pitted for me the last 2 or 3 years that I've done World Toughest as well. So.
And the wife is not coming?
Don't think so. I mean, for her, she'd have to get off work a day and then fly out and then fly back and pretty much only be there for about 24 hours. So I don't think it'd be that fun. She'd probably get pretty tired for work, and then that means she'd have to miss a day of skiing later on in the year when it snows. So we're talking about it, but yeah, not too fast.
All right. Now, for this kind of race, are you the kind of person that sets little bags up, lap 1, lap 2, lap 3, or just whatever you feel like when you come in?
Oh, I've got no idea. I mean, I've only really done the 24 hours properly when I did it with Ryan. The year before, we stopped a bit early, or we kind of slowed down a bit early. And last year, obviously, it was a catastrophe. So I'm not really sure, really. I do know that trying to go on, but you eat a lot of random food, don't you, in this 24 hours? And trying to go on all buy that the day before really sucks. You haven't got the appetite to buy all this weird, crappy food the day before. So I think I might just send my little sister out to buy a load of random food. I won't even go, and then I might be a bit surprised in the event to be like, oh, I'm eating this, or oh, I'm eating that. So it's probably one way we'll go. I'll probably rely on her a lot because I think she's probably got a better idea about what I need than I do.
Nutrition-wise?
Yeah, she's a doctor as well, so pretty much with everything. I'm not very good at looking after myself. I think that's why I'm a good obstacle racer, because as a kid, when it was cold, I wouldn't bother putting on a jacket, which means I'm a bit more used to the cold than other people maybe. But in a race like this, I guess you really just have to think about what you need and really look after yourself, because that's what's going to get you to the finish line.
I think you just gave me some good advice. If my son leaves without a coat on, I'm not going to be like, Jackson, get a coat. I'm just going to let him go, because then he might become a world-class obstacle racer.
Yeah, well, as long as he's not going to die, it's not going to hurt, is it?
Well, it'd be tough to... I mean, he did actually go... This is a longer story I won't tell you right now, but he did walk around shoeless at World's Toughest Mudder with mud and ice everywhere. That's kind of how he was rolling that day.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
All right, John. Well, you have been exciting and thrilling as always. You always make it like I'm twisting your arm to talk to you.
Yeah. No, I'm upbeat. It's going to be fun. One race left of the year. I'm nearly done. It's just going to be a long one. I mean, to think that I ran 6 hours at the weekend, I've got to do that 4 times.
But it doesn't really work that way, by the way. It's not.
I think the first 6 hours is actually probably the worst, because that's when you're slowly screwing yourself up. And then once you're screwed, it's kind of like, well, you're screwed, aren't you? So it doesn't really matter. You just carry on going. But it's as you just slowly do it to yourself, I think is the worst. So once I get to halfway, if I'm still moving, then I'll be pretty happy. It's just that first bit I don't like. I hate destroying my body. So that's why this sort of race is pretty sucky for me.
Well, I think everyone is pulling for you to win and to win
We shall see. I'm going to try. We'll see. Yeah, there's a lot of variables, isn't there? So it's going to be pretty screwed up. But hopefully I can just keep going for the full 24 hours if I'm in contention. And I don't want anyone to be like, oh, halfway, John was way off pace, we just stopped, because that's what I am going to do. Like, there's no way I'm going to run for 24 hours unless I'm going to do the 100 miles. Because if I do the 100 miles, if I run and don't make the 100 miles, I'm going to have screwed myself up and I won't be able to like exercise for like 2 weeks or like properly for a month or something. And winter's coming and I'm going to be able to go skiing and run around outside and like enjoy myself. So really I'm there not as a journey of self-discovery, because I've ran 24 hours before. I'm there really to try and win the money and just to see if I can do the 100 miles. So that's the challenge. And if it's not going to happen, I will probably stop early, because then I could just go and have more fun in the rest of my life rather than maybe injuring myself.
So 16 laps, is that what the math turns out to be?
I think, isn't it like a warm-up lap with no obstacles with 3 miles or something?
Well, they sent us through the town. That was a 5K last time. Yeah.
So we've got this initial 3 miles, and then I think each lap is something like, was it 8 miles or 6 miles? I had it somewhere. Anyway, so I think it all works out to be 102.3 miles to do 16 laps plus this little 5K. So I think it's 16 laps and I've got to run 102, 103 miles. And it's 430 meters climb per lap. So 430 times 16.
8,000.
6,880 meters of climb.
What time do you have to stop?
Which is 22,572 feet of climb.
What time do you have to stop?
So I've got to start my last lap by 11 a.m. That would give me 1 hour to finish the last lap. I think on average I've got to do something like 90-minute laps. So that means I should be on my last lap by 10:30. And Matt B. Davis took a snapshot.
I'm trying to get a smile out of you. Okay, I'll use that one.
There should be some sort of law against that.
Oh, but that's why it's telling you. It's telling you.
Because some random guy just took a photo of you.
Like if you were like getting naked or something.
Yeah, I would see. So I guess you can only not take photos of people when they're getting naked. Apart from that, it's completely fine to take photos of people.
All right. Well, I would ask if you want to talk to me again, but I feel like you won't after the race.
I don't mind. This is how I talk to most people.
Through Skype?
No, I do have like actual conversations with the real human beings sometimes.
What am I?
Sometimes also in Norwegian.
What am I?
You're an American human being, so I only see you when I'm in America, usually.
Right.
And when I'm in America, I'm tired and I'm jet lagged.
Is there anybody? Well, listen, Margaret just retired, so there's not many of us left.
I
right?
heard. That's so sad, isn't it? She was gone pro racer through to the media side, through trying to push the sport in the right directions, and she's retiring. It's like we've seen the entire sort of growth and stopping of her entire career within obstacle racing. End of an era, I reckon.
But I'm still here, damn it.
I know, yeah. I mean, you just haven't made your mark yet. Once you've made your mark, that's it. You can retire and leave the world a happy place.
Yeah, something like that.
Everyone said that to me, I think. Will this, like, if I were to win the million, is that it? Like, I've done obstacle racing. It's like a tick box, like, done.
But that's not the case, I'm guessing.
I do actually like obstacle racing. If I was to win the money, it does mean I can go and do other races without having to try and win a lot of prize money all the time. But some of those would be obstacle races anyway. And it's pretty fun training for obstacle racing because you don't have to just do one particular thing. So I think I'll always be doing some obstacle races. It's just maybe I can race a little bit less and have a bit more fun.
Do you, and I have to go actually, I have a 9 o'clock.
Oh, sorry.
But do you have any desire to do like UTMB or anything?
Yeah, I think it would be. I've had this foot issue for like 3 years, but I've just got some good feedback from MRI last week that the joint's not screwed up. It's just the little bone on the bottom of my foot that's like irritated. So that's kind of like made me feel a lot better about myself in the fact that I'm not completely destroying myself. I might actually be able to go on a run for many more years. So when I think about the pain just being a bit superficial and the fact that it's not actually screwing me up, to think about going and running something like UTMB actually is a little bit more plausible now.
What were the other races that you would do? Like just sort of like now, if your schedule got cleared some or you had more means?
I don't know. I get a lot of requests, so probably I'll just look through all the requests and just pick some cool ones.
Oh, like people like, hey...
It might also be like not even just going up some mountains and stuff as well. I've never really done high mountain stuff, so do a high mountain course and go up some bigger mountains. Be pretty cool. Go and do Mont Blanc, Matterhorn, something like that. Like go and have some cool experiences, or do some like cabin to cabin running across Norway and stuff. Just try and like reconnect with the type of running which gives you just a massive kick just from being up there running, rather than thinking I have to be running because I've got this big thing in a week.
All right, well, lovely chatting.
Yep.
I will be rooting away for you way back here in America when I'm not sleeping, of course.
So you're not going either?
I am not going, no, sir. I went last year. It was fun. I'd go back, but I'm not going this year. My year is done. Yeah. My travel year is already done.
I'm very jealous.
All right, well, have fun, dude.
Yeah, I will try. I'll say hi to everyone for you.
Please do. When you see people and they say, John, we wish you luck. When they say, John, God, man, go get it, wish you luck, say, Matt B. Davis says hi. Just do that to everyone.
So whenever I have a photo with someone, I'll just sort of like have my arm around a bit of thin air, which I'll just pretend is you as well.
Please do that. Thank you so much for listening. Good luck, John. We are all pulling for you. Everyone except Joe DeSena, who he himself is a little bit pulling for you from the last time I spoke with him. Coming up, we've got some great content for you on the podcast machine. We've got Anders Varner Part 2. We've got Jack Bauer and Stat Mania, I'm going to call it, I think. Jack Bauer bringing us tons of stats that he's doing over on the Yancey Camp pages. We got Adrian. Many of you heard the announcement, the new 100-meter sprint lap. 100-meter obstacle course they're doing over OCRWC. Had a quick chat with Adrian about that. That'll be coming. You can find me and all things obstacle racing media on the following channels. All of them. Go to YouTube. Go to Facebook. Instagram, we do a lot of fun stuff. Man, we do a lot of fun stuff over there. Need to get a hold of me? You can reach me on pretty much any of those platforms. Join our Patreon. Be like the 34 people mentioned earlier today. Be a part of our community. Support this show. It doesn't support itself. Actually, it kind of does. Sort of. I get sponsors, but you know what I'm saying. Come be a part of the magic. Come be a part of the cool community that is ORM. People that listen, have been around a long time, know it's worth it. It's weird for me to talk. That's all I can say. Come be a part of it. I've got to run.